Hello guys and welcome to episode 4 of the G3 podcast. We've been missing out. We missed out 2 weeks, but we're going to tell you why we've missed out for 2 weeks. But today we have the usual guest like we always do, but we will have a surprise this time, and I promise you there will be an extra guest, because if there isn't I'm going to cry. But today we have our regular folks. First I'm going to introduce him. It's the Angry Pacifist. Say hello.
Hello.
There you go. And we also have Final Try Soul.
What the hell was that?
Who knows? But yeah, that's who knows. But yeah, that's us. That's the G3 podcast. Jesus Christ. Yeah, let's just go straight into it and explain why we haven't been here for the last 2 weeks. The first week that we were absent, we weren't here because of Black Lives Matter and the Black Lives Matter movement. The whole don't post anything to get so you don't want to take any attention away from the movement, so we didn't want to post anything, right? Yeah. But then the second week of no showing was due to just the guest not being able to do anything, which is also why I'm going to announce that the guest has also changed. Last episode I did say Hannah Kramer was going to be the guest for this week, but we have someone different. Let's hope I don't cut in and say, oh, we don't have anyone this week again, because that would make me cry again. But we should have Poseidon Harris, who is like the major role in both my films so far. So yeah, he should be here, and he should talk about his whole thing with acting, what he's doing currently now, and so on and so forth. And it's going to be a whole big thing. But yeah, as of right now, not much to say, not much to do. How have you guys been in the last few weeks with quarantine? Let me start with Chris. Chris, how have you been?
Fine, I guess. Things have sort of been very up and down for me recently because I started to get involved in a community on Discord, and it started off quite well. But then over time we all sort of started to not really. We started butting heads, and and we started to get into a lot of disagreements, and now the group has sort of split in two. And so and so it's sort of gone from having I've gone from having no social life to a massive social life to no social life again, because basically all the people that were that I disagreed with, they were the people who also had microphones. So we were doing lots of voice chats, and now everyone that's left on the side that I agreed with don't have microphones other than me. So I've sort of lost out on that sort of social connection. But it's fine. I'm sort of used to it at this point.
Alex, what about you? Well, how have you been the last few weeks since the last episode? How have you been?
Well, let's just say things are a bit different now.
Oh yeah, you had your birthday, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm 20.
Oh yeah, yeah.
How did that go?
Well, sadly, we was planning on doing a whole event. We could have made a nice video for everyone.
Yeah.
The G3 together.
Yeah.
But sadly, COVID struck.
Curse you!
Stay indoors, wash their hands, make sure everything's all good, safe for you.
Fucking COVID!
But this thing, it was a sad day for me on my birthday. But at the same time, I was happy.
I have a few stories for you guys. Like always, I have a few stories.
Okay.
So, guess who I saw again?
Oh, so top and twat.
Yeah, so the fucking fat controller dude. So, I was walking by, right? So, you know how, currently we have a rule now, so if you want to go on the buses or into specific shops, in the UK, you got to wear a mask, right?
Yeah.
So, which was introduced today, but in getting ready for that rule, I've just been wearing a mask outside, right? So I'm just comfortable with it. So I'm walking down the street to go buy my essentials, right? Like I'm always doing, right? The same day every week, right? I'm walking down, and Satopum Twat, right? Is sitting at a bus stop, He's trying to be really sneaky and smart by wearing the same clothes that he always wears. And I even sent a photo of you guys of him sitting at the bus stop. Remember this? I sent a photo to you guys.
In that suit.
So he's sitting there, and he's just like looking for his next prey. He's just around like, yeah. So I'm walking down. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to the little chip shop, get some chips, because I'm like,
Your local chip shops are open?
Yeah, my chip shops are open. Yeah.
Oh goodness, I wish I was there.
I'm gonna get some chips. Cool. I went out, and the guy, because he knew, so he sees that I've come back with shopping in my little like trolley thing, and he also sees that I've got chips in my hand. He's like, "Oh, you must have money." So he puts his hand out like he always does, right? But then he realized who I was, and the look on his face turned into disdain. He went from like being all like, "Oh please, I have no," "Oh you," it's just like, yeah, me. Don't try it. Oh my god, it's the moment where like now he knows I know his shit. I'm like, dude, why are you still in the same area? Because you're not gonna get anything from me, and these people are gonna figure out sooner or later that you're a fucking scumbag. So just stop. I don't get it. Like the very first time that he did it to me, that he tried to scam me, right? Is he was like, "Oh, I have no money to travel back home," right? He's like, I need to travel home back to my daughter. I have no money." First time I fell for it, I was like, you know what? Even if he's lying, cool, whatever. Let him just travel home, right? Makes sense. Give him the money for that. He can travel home. Second time, again the same clothes. I'm like, okay, is he homeless? Nah, he can't be, because his hair is perfect.
It's perfect. Is that what you can see?
No, but it's like I'm like, it's just like the second time I'm like, okay, what do you need me now? He's like, the same excuse. "Oh yeah, I need money so I can get home. I have a daughter." I'm like, you sure?
What?
You sure you have a daughter? Because you're telling me this again.
I thought you were gonna do that for first COVID.
No, because this was way before COVID when I first met this dude. The next one was him going, me going up to him going, "Okay, dude, I know what this stick is. Just stop. It's not gonna work." He ignored me, and then every so often he does the whole thing where he pretends he doesn't look at me. He pretends he's looking another direction. It's just the scummiest shit in the world. It's just ridiculous. I don't even know from the first 5 minutes. Should I be swearing? Yeah, we're 9 minutes in. I can swear. It's ridiculous shit. It's stupid. It's stupid.
Wow.
Oh, it's an ice cream truck. Great.
Hey, brilliant.
I love when ice cream trucks interrupt me. Yeah, I love it.
It's really loud, actually.
It is very loud. Very loud. Stop playing the music. Wait.
What music is it? Wait,
Stop
is it one of the ones that? Is it one of the ones that does?
Coming around the block.
It's my ice cream van. It's mine.
Yeah, didn't you hear him?
Have you noticed they keep coming around blocks and no one comes out?
Yeah, no one's gonna come and ask for their fucking Corona tasted flavored fucking ice cream.
Oh, wow.
There's one thing that people do, right, when I'm going to shop for essentials that really annoy me, right? So I was in which I think it was Morrison's, right?
Yeah.
And Morrison's had these like labels on the floor which are 2 meters apart, so you know where to stand when you're waiting in the queue, right? So I'm the guy in front of me, like he's standing on his little circles label. I'm standing on my circle label, right? And this girl comes behind me, and she is like right behind me. I'm like, do you not get what's going on here? Do you not understand that not only could you give me it, but if I had it, I could give it to you. Yeah. Stay 2 meters away from me, please. Yeah. So I turn around. I give it. I'm because I'm British, right? I find it hard to just tell them, "Can you fuck off?" Right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, cool. This is really annoying me. For a second, I wait for the line to push up. So the line moves up, and I wait an extra while. So there's like 2 extra spaces, right? So I can really go forward. So she can give me space, right? I go forwards, and she gets right behind me again. I'm like, fucking. Do you not get it? So I turn around. I gave her the most disgusting look. She looked at me back. I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, no. Do you not understand what's going on here? There's labels on the floor. Can you please not? She just didn't understand, to the point where I went to the chicken. I was like, I was like, I do not like this. That is the biggest issue I have currently with this whole. It's no longer the prices, because the prices have probably gone back down again, because people are like, yeah, we can't extort people anymore, right? But the biggest issue that I have now is this fucking shit with all of these people that you never know to just distance themselves, which is why I don't go on buses during this current thing. Because if I went on a bus, I know I would have caught corona like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because those things had no people wearing masks. Everyone was sitting next to each other in a confined space. No, thank you. No, thank you. But yeah, that's what's happening.
Some people are so stupid.
And we're in the gaming section.
Yay!
Again, I did the
jazz
thing. Do you like jazz? That should be our that should be our that should be our channel trailer for Spotify. It's just Barry Benz going, do you like jazz? And then our theme playing. Do you like jazz? Da, da, da. We should add Barry Benson to the opening theme. So we just start. It just goes. Do you like jazz? Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
That'd be really funny.
Let's do that for next week's one.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe it'll be in this one. Who knows?
Well, maybe, but it would surprise people because we talk about it after it plays.
Yeah, it'll be very confusing. I understand.
Yeah.
Gaming section. So quite a few things happened in this gaming week because there have been delays for a lot of gaming events because of the Black Lives Matter movement and because of COVID. But this week we did have some stuff. We had the PlayStation 5 event, which I did stream on my channel.
Yeah.
A lot of things happened during that PlayStation 5 event. A lot of things. The look of the PlayStation was revealed, which I will say now, I fucking hate. I do not like the PlayStation's look. People on the internet love it.
Really? People
You
like
may not
it?
notice, but PlayStation 5 is taking a turn to furries.
Oh, we'll talk about that game in a second. Actually, we'll talk about that game because in the podcast, not in the podcast, in the video I made of my reactions, I specifically said this is Nick's game. I literally said this is the game for Nick. We'll get to that. But yeah, they showed their PlayStation, and I don't like it. Mainly because not because what the internet says of like it looking like a router, right? Which it kind of does, but that's not my issue with it. The design is fine. Well, the design is okay. The colors are fine. Again, they're okay. My issue, is none of that. My issue is Sony's attempt to make it look futuristic and how that would not look good in anyone's setup. Like currently, right now, in my room, my television's a black television, right? My phone has a black case. My desk is black wood. My PC case is black.
Oh, yeah.
My
I
PS4 is black. My Xbox is black. Fucking hell.
You should get the Xbox one then.
Mate, I probably would.
The Xbox.
But then all of my stuff is back, and then I'll have a white and blue PlayStation 5 in a sense. That will look disgusting. It would clash with my personal setup, and I think a lot of people's. Because I don't think the PlayStation 5 would look good in anyone's homes, because no one's gonna have a home that looks as futuristic as a PlayStation 5 unless you're fucking rich. And it's true. Like, Chris, would the PlayStation 5 look good in your living room?
It might if I have my Wii next to it, but other than that, no.
Alex, would the PlayStation 5 look good in your living room? I know what your living room looks like, and I'm gonna say no.
Wait, what?
Would the PlayStation 5 design look good in your living room?
That's a big definitely no. That's a no right there.
Exactly. I just don't.
Actually, if I was playing a video game on it and I was putting the disc in, no one would be able to see it. You know what I mean, right?
Yes. Yes. My God, because she's white. But yeah, just to close off this gaming section, anyone who hasn't subscribed to our YouTube channel, G3, it's just G3 on YouTube. Yeah, it's just G3. Subscribe because we're gonna start trying to do a bit more content on there, specifically gaming stuff. We're kind of planning to do this whole thing where we play video games together over the internet. So we were able to, someone will be able to stream the video game to someone else. So example, like I'll be playing the video game, right? And I'll stream it to Chris and Alex, who also commentate over the video game, but we all make decisions together, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like that kind of stuff. We're still discussing which video games to do. We have some ideas for horror ones, but then that would be different because the idea is if we do horror ones, I want it to be at night. Or what's the point? So it will be a later recording. But if we do,
you do them in winter.
Probably, yeah. And if we do, no, Wednesday we have to do Poseidon's recording.
Yeah.
And if we do other episodes or like other games like Building Simulator or something like that, that'll be easier, but it won't have that kind of. It's just a lot of experimentation. We have to really have an idea of what we can do. But expect some gaming stuff to come out on the G3 channel. And yeah. But yeah. And do you guys have anything you want to say about some games? Any games you're playing? Anything?
So when we were watching the live stream from the Sony one about PS5, they sort of showed like a montage of different of like the most popular games from the current era, including GTA 5, and I was sort of thinking, oh, are we going to actually get some information on GTA 6 here? Because, you know, there hasn't really been anything proper other than, you know, there's only really been rumours, and even if they just said, you know, a small thing, it would have been cool to know that there's something in the works for that. So I was a bit annoyed that there wasn't really anything. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed that there wasn't anything for that there, especially given the fact that they sort of showed it. Yeah. But I mean, you know, it's fine.
It was a big tease because the literal start of the PS5 stuff was the Rockstar logo. So
yeah.
It's me sitting there going, but I didn't have it in the video because I didn't press the fucking stream button as fast.
Yeah.
It was that moment where it's like it showed Rockstar and I was like, oh, GTA 6? No way. And then I hear a voice, I'm like, that doesn't sound like any voice. And they specifically made it not sound like any character in GTA 5, even though it was Michael, to trick you. Because that did not sound like Michael. You're sitting there and it's like, this is a new voice. This is GTA 6. And then you see the same opening from the old GTA like intro. Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And then you see Michael and Trevor and Franklin, and you're like, fucking hell. And you're like, oh, GTA on another console edition. Great. Just make a new game. Yeah.
Well, honestly, like when we saw those characters, they could have very easily have just been like, you know, that was the old game, and how now here's the new game. Sort of, you know, like I don't know whether you've seen it, but the Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets movie trailer has a couple of clips at the beginning from the first one. It could have sort of been like that, where it's like, you know, here was the first one, now here's the second one type thing. I mean, you could. I mean, I'd be perfectly fine with a new game with those characters, or a new game set somewhere completely different with new people. I just want a new game. Yeah.
Anything. Just anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, it would be cool to see like an HD version of San Fierro and Las Venturas from San Andreas.
HD remake of GTA San Andreas, that'd be good.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of what GTA 5 was, but just Los Santos.
Yeah, but it kind of wasn't.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like literally, you know, word for word.
Even to GTA is like one of the GTA 5 specifically is one of the most successful games. It's
think
not my
it is the
favorite
most
GTA.
successful. Your favorite is number 4.
Yes, GTA 4 has.
Yeah, I've heard good stuff about 4 and San Andreas from completely different people.
4 has such a unique feel that GTA always had that GTA 5 does not have for me, and I don't know why GTA 5 doesn't have it. Like GTA 4, its story was not complex. It wasn't stretching it like far. It wasn't trying anything. It's just a simple story about an immigrant coming to the US illegally, right, and wanting to make a place in the world, but having issues with like mafia bosses, right? That was the kind of game, right? That was it, and it's him trying to escape that life. It was just a simple story, and I really liked it. It had a lot of mechanics which they don't have in GTA 5, like a simple mechanic like your character can go on the GTA version of Craigslist and get dates, and then they're actually your character's like partner, and not just a romance option. Like you can actually like take them out to bowling, you can take them out to play pool, all of this stuff, and then you establish a relationship, and even one of the characters you do establish a relationship with in the game is linked to the main plotline, and I won't spoil how, but they link to the main plotline. That's a really interesting way of doing this. I'm like, this is really cool. In GTA 5 it's like explosions. It's like, okay, thanks. But GTA 4 is like my favorite GTA. It just undeniably is.
Yeah, from what I've heard, GTA 5 is very much a sort of a best of both worlds from San Andreas and GTA 4, but a lot lacking, while still being a really good game at the same time. Yeah. It's a weird one.
It is a weird one. But anyways, we're gonna move on to the next section. So we will see you guys there. And we're in the guest segment, guys. Wow, that little jingle. Did you like the sound of that? Did you like the sound of that, Chris? What do you think about that? I liked it. I personally liked it. I think it's really good.
You like jazz?
Do you like jazz? Now we're in the guest section. We've got a guest with us. Finally, we actually have a guest. What?
Yay!
We've got Poseidon Harris with us. Say hello.
Oh, hello there.
Whoa! Oh my god.
Sorry, I was currently doing jazz hands. I heard that entry music. Standing at my computer going, yay!
Oh my god. If anyone who's listening or watching the YouTube version of this who doesn't know who Poseidon is, he is a good friend of Chris and I. Is also the actor in my 2 films. He's the main character of the current one, which is sadly postponed because fucking COVID. But yeah, Poseidon Harris is the man. He's the man. And I'm grateful for him to be here. Yes, last week we did promise it was going to be Hannah, but again, as I said before, things changed. Life happened, so we had to change it, and we couldn't have got a better guest. So yeah, Poseidon's here. So I'm just gonna ask you one question so we can get this moving along, Poseidon. I want to know, what have you been doing during this whole quarantine time? What have you been getting yourself busy in?
Well, first of all, I must say thank you very much for edifying me like that. I feel like I'm something special now. No, I'm joking. What have I been doing during quarantine? That's a very, very good question. I've actually been trading. I've been learning how to trade and how to use Forex and pushing myself forward within that sort of region so I can earn some financial income whilst obviously all this is happening. I've also been practicing certain scripts and talking to other people, trying to get new things off. I'm wondering how I'm going to start 3 or 4 projects as soon as this kicks over. So
yeah, it's the same thing with me, because I know that everyone's going to start going back into other projects, and I'm like, damn, now I got to remember, like now it's going to be me doing the whole rescheduling stage all over again, and that was the longest thing last time. It's such a ball ache, but yeah. So this trading thing, how did you get into that? How did you start that?
One of my friends, they've been doing it for about a year now, They introduced me to it. I met up with him in February for the first time in about 3 years. Sat down, we had a drink. He told me about it, and we just went on from there. You know, he invited me into the academy. I learned a lot of things to do with Forex, and he just sort of pushed me forward.
There's an academy?
Yeah, there's an academy that we've got. We've got like a training schedule, like a training program that we follow, which is pretty cool, where we learn how to trade.
That is very interesting. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing sort of thing to get into. But yeah, everyone thinks that you've got to have obviously a very high IQ, a lot of money, but you don't need anything at all. You just need yourself and need to be willing to learn. That's all you need.
That's a thing people should
amazing
take in with life. You just got to be willing to learn. Everyone's got to be willing to learn something. There's a quote that I heard that no one's perfect. Everyone is better than you at something. And to be better yourself, you got to learn from the person who's better than you. That's just a thing. You got to keep doing it.
Well, of course, and it's funny you say that because a lot of people try and beat the person that's above them when they don't really compete with themselves. So then they end up like not improving. So my main aim is to be better at my acting career. Is to be better than I was yesterday.
Completely.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same when it comes to being a writer, and a director, and trying to learn this thing. I know. I may know quite a bit from just me being a fan of directing and writing. I may know more than I should at my stage already, but that doesn't mean that I can't learn. Like, recently, I just learned about when script writing that I myself put too much detail in. Like I do what you do with books, which you're not meant to do, which is the first thing you're meant to learn. Where you only in a script you're only meant to put in what like the viewer would see. But I generally when I write scripts, because you obviously know, I write like deeper meanings a character would have, but you wouldn't really do that in a script. You'll do that when you talk with your actor, right? That's when you'll discuss all of that stuff and go forth there. And it's just a thing that I need to get out of, because I like to just really get the people who's reading the script to know the feel I'm wanting. But then again, that's what I meant to do at the stage when I talk to you guys. It's just a thing I need to learn. But yeah, it's just learning. Everyone's always got to learn. There's always something you don't know, and the only way to improve is to accept the fact you don't know everything and then learn.
Well, of course, it's 100% that, you know, a lot of people don't understand that they've got to unlearn, learn, then relearn, if that makes sense. Because a lot of people are stuck in their ways, and they've got to realise that in any sort of business, in any sort of industry, or in life in general, what you do is you take one step forward and see if it works, you assess the waters, and take one step back. And you turn another direction if it doesn't work, and you take that step forward and you do exactly the same thing until you can move forward. But a lot of people, they tend to put their whole foot in the water and fall in. It's unfortunate, really. But when it comes down to things like being a fan of what you do, it sort of helps you out in the long run, because a lot of people don't realise that when you're a fan of something and you're so passionate and you read into it, you're learning about the subject a lot more. And then that's just something a lot of people just don't take into consideration as well, because when you're passionate and you learn about something, you'll naturally take the route of pushing forward. You know, so yeah, in my opinion, what you're doing right there, pushing forward with a fan base sort of thing, is a great thing to have, because you can become successful a lot more than from someone that's not passionate about that subject.
Yeah.
When writing the first film, Write and Read, it was I knew I was gonna have Jan and Michael, both be their characters, and your friend Adam French, I think it is, was originally meant to be WALTZ, right?
Oh yes, indeed, yes, it was. So Adam, unlike me, Adam's like I think he's like 6'1". I'm 5'10", 5'11". He's got piercing blue eyes. I've got brown eyes, you know. So there is a little bit of difference between us. But we went onto a set with each other, onto a set called Villains, and we just literally got along like a house on fire. And he was playing this gangster in this house trying to get this briefcase open. I was playing a madman. And when he saw me, I was playing like a madman, like a psychotic sort of guy. You know, Union Jack flag on, blood pouring out the mouth. You know, like couldn't even speak. If he does speak, it'll probably sound like a Billy out of what's it called, Goofy and Mickey Mouse or something. You know, so you know. So what's happened is that he's come up to me and he's gone, Poseidon, I said, yeah. He's gone, I've got this role, but I can't make it. I want to put you forward for it. And I said, okay, Mr. Agent, like, have the laugh. And he looked at me and he laughed. He went, seriously, I can't make it. So I'm going to put it forward to this guy called Bam. Inbox him, let him know, and then we'll go from there. I said, sweet. So I inboxed you, I turned up, I sat down, and he went, right, these are the lines we're going to go through. So I said, okay. And as I read the lines, granted, some of them were really wrong. You just sort of looked at me and you went, yep, we got our man. And I was like, wait, what? That's simple.
Let me tell you the thought process for that, because it was me going through very, like, a lot of how you say, it was me going through a lot of different people for the role, right? So it was me, because I was using the site Star now, and it was me going through that, and I was like, okay, I want the role for this. I had a very unique description for it, and I had an idea, right? And the original idea was Adam wanted to do the role because he wanted to experiment with being more of like a bad guy kind of character. He really wanted to go into that, and that was why he was really interested in playing Carib. When doing the casting call, a lot of people who came had the look, but didn't understand the sadisticness of the character, like the how he enjoys what he does, even though it's completely wrong. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people didn't get that.
Yeah.
And it was that moment where, like, it was me having this moment. I was like, okay. I just want someone to be good. Like, this is gonna fall apart. I need someone to be good. Then you came in. I was like, hi, okay. He's got the look. Okay, cool. Let's go. And then you really got into it. And I was like, yeah, yeah. This is the man. This is who I want. This is and since then I was like, I think whenever Chris and I talk about this, we can't think of anyone else being Carib.
Yeah.
So I don't think it worked.
Yeah.
I just couldn't think of. Oh my god! Okay, yeah. I just couldn't think of anyone else being Carib. It's just that moment. You to not full on big up. Not as in big up, but to not over.
Exaggerate,
yeah. To do that. You just were perfect, and I couldn't think of anyone else. It's madness. It's madness.
Well, thank you very much, man. That's very kind of you. It brings blood to my knife. It's very kind of you. Thank you very much. Like I said, I've had friends who have been in drama all their life that wanted to get into script writing and stuff. And when they saw me, they was like, "Oh, we want you to play this guy," and it was always the mass murdering, psychotic, serial killing type of guy. And then I looked into my eyes and I was like, "Yeah, we got that." I was like, okay. And then it used to go on from there. But yeah, ever since my first or second year back into acting, I looked and I said, why don't I just pursue it? And I did. And then obviously I bumped into you guys and it just all exploded. So yeah, thank you for that.
I would like to ask you, Poseidon, during Write and Read, not WALTZ, because we don't want to spoil stuff yet. But during Write and Read, which was the favorite part for you to film during Write and Read? What was your favorite part? Because I have a favorite part. And
for me, it was the final scene, and the only reason for that is because we had so much fun doing it. It was so much sort of emotion and stuff running through for everyone, and even though it was at the end of the day, everyone still had so much energy to move forward. But yeah, with the guns and stuff, the plastic guns that we used, they weren't real ones. Don't worry about that. But with the plastic guns that we used, it was just so fun because we was coming up with new maneuvers and stuff to keep people safe in order to go through. So we went through like 10 different things to go through for people to acknowledge and feel safe with when we went through the actual action scene itself. So yeah, man, it's great fun.
Because a story is because again I did release a behind the scenes bit, but most of it was just like bloopers because we didn't really have because the idea was to have a documentary going on during the filming of WALTZ, but also when we were doing Right and Red as well, but both of them aren't able to happen because of first one, Right and Red one wasn't able to happen because the people meant to do it changed what they were going to do a documentary on, and then WALTZ because obviously what's happened. So the original plan was there to be 2 guns. I still have the big boy gun here with me now. To tell you guys, I have 4 different kind of guns. I have the one we use for WALTZ with the clip, right? I've got that one. I've got the one we used for Right and Red, and I got a one which was like a Desert Eagle, but it has a golden trim on it. And the idea I was gonna I can send a photo to you guys and probably put it on the screen if you're watching the YouTube version. But I got the golden trim I was gonna change to be red for the Red Saint, right? But then I was thinking, I was like, yeah, but it doesn't make sense because the Red Saint doesn't have his own gun. He uses Dana's gun, right? That's the kind of point. And it's why he doesn't have a gun in Right and Red because again he's using Dana's gun. Because going back to the story I was originally going to tell, we had 2 guns, and the idea was it was meant to be like a kind of Mexican standoff between between Edison having his gun and Dana giving Carabots her gun, right? And they're both meant to stand off, pointing at each other, and then the conversation that was happening there was meant to be as they're both pointing gun at each other because both of them are trying to one up each other at this point. But then Dana's kind of like standing in the middle. That's why in the actual scene, when you watch it, you see it's Carab to the left, Edison to the right, and then Dana in the middle. Because it's meant to be Carab and Dana on each side, and Carab and Edison on each side, and Dana in the middle, and they're like tugging at whose side is she gonna join, right? And then obviously, if you haven't watched Right and Red, spoiler, but Carab shoots Dana in the head.
Oh no joking.
Oh God!
How dare you spoil it for me?
So many people got so angry at your character for that. I because I did so many screenings at my college, right? I did like first edition like hard cut screenings for like Chris, obviously, Milo, who's the guy whose apartment we use for WALTZ, Alex, who's meant to be here but he isn't here because of audio issues. I also screened it to the executive producers, Nigel and Toby. I did it to all of this, and it's that moment where they all had the visceral reaction of just being angry at you and the fact you shot the person who was like saving you and being on your side. And I was like, that is what I wanted. I wanted you guys to be angry at him so that when he wins at the end, spoilers, you're still angry. That is what I wanted. It was perfect. It was perfect. But yeah, the original idea was...
But that's how a lot of people then said that they wanted to see more of Carab and Dana's relationship, which is why you made the why you're making the prequel.
I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, originally it was meant to be 2 guns. So I'm gonna if I can find a section, I'm gonna read it out just so you, anyone who's really interested in how I write a script or whatever. This is the idea. So she uncuffs Carab and then points a gun towards Edison. Dana, I'm sorry, I truly am. He goes, I don't understand. I'm sorry, Edison, I really am. But we're different. This this is different. Different how? Okay, so I changed this bit as well. So in the actual one, it's just Dana saying, you're only just a friend, Cab is much more, right? Alluding to their romantic relationship in the past, right?
Yeah.
Originally, it was meant to be more like a kind of like a religious fascination because the executive producer, Nigel Duckers, told me I had to do two things for this script, right? I had to have the social media element with the Snapchat stuff, which I completely dropped, and it's no longer canon because fuck that shit. And the like right-wing cult leader thing, and I'm like, but I don't have a big cast, so I can't really have him be a cult leader. So I'm making it so Dana kind of like sees him as this visionary, right? But then that also makes no sense to me. So when I was editing it, I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not putting this in. No. So I completely got rid of the part where she goes, he is a visionary, a saint sent down to fix this world. I'm like, yeah. Yeah. So it just goes, you're only just a friend. Carib is much more. And then Edison interrupts, nonsense. He's a madman and a murderer. Dana, using one arm, places Carib's phone on the table. Carib starts to get really, really like big of himself because he's now in power. He takes Dana's gun and points it towards Edison, right? This is meant to be like the moment where like, let's see what happens. Rolls to die. Oh, and it's like number 5, Carib shoots Dana, and as soon as he shoots Dana, Edison pulls out his gun, and that's when it's meant to be like the standoff, right? But I had to be taken away to deal with issues with other people within the college, right? And you guys broke the gun while you were waiting for me. So
Yeah, sorry about that.
so it's when we're like, they broke the gun, so we had to on the fly. I was like, okay, I had to go, and I was like, guys, I'm gonna go again. When we come back, you guys have to like sort of think of a whole different way to do this. And then when I came back, you guys had it sorted. You guys were like, yeah, we got an idea where I have the gun towards him. I go towards him, and then he kind of like tackles me, but takes it off me and points it back at me. And I was like, I like that better. We're doing it. So it's like, because I was so ready myself to just like postpone the day and then do this another day. And everyone's like, no, let's do it now. We've got a plan. I'm like, okay, cool. And then, to be honest, I would agree. The version we ended up with was better. It paced a lot better because it especially the moment where I love the moment where Edison gets the gun, but Carib is still so confident. He's walking up to Edison. Edison's pointing the gun at him, and he's talking about his brother. He's just in his face, and I'm like, this guy's got such big balls. He's such like he's got. It's ridiculous. I love it.
But is that a point where you're looking at say, right, you're either brave or really stupid?
Yeah.
What one is it?
Yeah.
So I still can't tell which one.
Oh my god! And another thing that people really really liked is when Edison dies, but they didn't like that Edison died, but they liked the fact that the villain won, which was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, what if I have a crime drama where the villain wins? How would that work? How would I be able to trick people? And I was like, you got to go through the conventional kind of like shifts, but then at points you got to change it. So the first change was him shooting Dana. I'd like to know what was the first impression of this kind of like production that you got?
Okay, so the first impression I had, it was really good, to be honest with you, because a lot of places I go to and I think ambitious or I've seen it before, but I'll carry on. You know, as bad as that sounds, it's the truth. But when I went to use, I saw a lot more. I wouldn't say energy. I'd just say a lot more aspiration. If that makes sense.
Enthusiasm, I'm guessing, is kind of what you're going for.
Yeah, a lot more enthusiasm. But I see that you saw everything whereabouts you wanted to get and where you wanted to go, but everything was a lot more structured. I.e., is in the sense of this is the storyline, this is the script. We may alter the script, but at the same time, we're going to get it done. On this date at this time, it's going to be done. And that's what I liked. It's very, very, very straightforward, direct. It's very piercing, if that makes sense. Tunnel vision, I can also use as well. The other point I'm trying to get at is that you're very professional in what you've done. And the way that the whole cast sort of approached filming it itself was like, it was very professional, and it was like you wanted to be a producer, director, a writer in the near future. Not you're just doing it because you wanted to mess around in college and obviously get forward. you done it, and then you structured everything as if the way that you're going to be doing it in the future, and that just made me feel a lot more professional. It also made me feel a lot better in what I was doing. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong going to another college and another person, whether they're going to be doing their own thing. But when it comes to not being professional, not getting things done on time, not pushing forward, it actually gets the actors really sort of frustrated and nervous, and not angry as such, but really like thinking, what am I doing here? Like they're questioning themselves again. You know?
I understand.
And not want to do it. And then that loses the passion for the role, and not just the role, but everything that we do as well. As a whole, mindset does play a lot in this, and when everything's structured, it runs smoothly and it goes off. It's a very, very nice risk and run. So yeah, thank you for that, by the way.
It's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Before we go into the next conversation topic, which will be with WALTZ, is there any last things that either you or Chris want to say about Right and Red that you want to bring up, like a story or anything?
Yeah, sorry for breaking the gun. that was my fault, because the first time you were gone, and when you come back, and then when you left again, we was practicing rehearsal. So what we was going to do is I was going to take the gun out of the hands, and I was showing I forgot the guy who played Edward.
Michael.
Michael, that was it. Thank you. I was teaching Michael how to just reverse the gun safely out of someone's hand. And as I've done it, I've whacked it out of his hand. Ironically, the teachee becomes the idioty, right? Whacked it out of his hand by accident. The gun's gone flying and it hit the floor. And I looked down and I looked at Michael and I went, "Oh, shh." And he looked at me and he went, "Wow."
Because the thing is, like, especially on that last day, there was a real feel of like group effort. Like everyone wanted this last scene to bang, right? Everyone wanted this last scene to just be really good, and you could really feel it on set.
It was good. It was good build up, good pressure, good throw forward. You know, it was good to have that feeling inside of me when I was doing it. I actually feel like a mass murder killer, serial killer, psychotic. You know.
Due to the response to Right and Red, with people really enjoying the sort of portrayal of Dana, joining Karev's side. People really wanted to see how that all started, and so Bam and I sort of got to work with how that could have happened, and we sort of. It was mostly Bam. We sort of ended up with this sort of concept of how do I explain it without giving spoilers? We sort of came up with this concept of how Karev got to just sort of generally how they met. And we sort of had to work out new characters to be in it. So WALTZ is much more focused on Kared's family, which is why it's called WALTZ. So we had to introduce characters like his dad, his mum, a younger version of him, and that's sort of where the direction we wanted to go in for it.
Yeah, a lot of the feedback, because I asked for feedback after the screenings, right, and then the release, and then all of that, right. I asked for feedback, and who was the most important, what was the most interesting things for Right and Red, and people said they liked the dynamic of Poseidon and Edison, and they kind of like button heads rivalry. They love that stuff. But then the big question, the big want was to know more of Dana and Karev, and why Dana would betray Edison, and so on and so forth, and that stuff, right? And it's the moment where I didn't know how I was going to do that, right? Because the big part of that was the betrayal of Cara of Dana, right? Cara betrays Dana and she dies. Well, yeah, she dies. Quotation marks. But sorry, I just opened a drink. But she dies. And how am I meant to give a reason as to why they would be together, right? We'll be working together, and why Dana would still be a cop if she's working with someone, or like if it's not been found out that she's dating someone that she's doing a case against, right? And how that all that works and how that mixed together. So coming up with WALTZ was quite a challenge. Because I remember I as soon as finishing writing Red, I was like, okay, I need to go. I instantly started thinking about what I can do with WALTZ, right? I didn't even ask Poseidon or Marina if they want to come back for the role. I'm assuming they were going to because of what I heard. But it was until I finished the first script and I was like, I should probably ask those two if they're gonna come back before I finish this. I should probably do that. So then I sent them both an Instagram message like, I'm thinking about doing a prequel. And then maybe a third film. Would you guys be willing to come back? Both of you guys said yes. I was completely happy, right? Woo! It was that, right? So it was then me going, okay. Now this is where we got to get down to it, right? And when so this is the thing that people didn't, as I said before, that Dana was originally written as a guy, right? Carib was originally written for Adam French. So when it came to this, I had to write Dana more as a female than I did before, because I didn't write Dana as a female. I wrote Dana as well as a masculine kind of character. It was meant to be like a dude-bro relationship between Dana and Edison. But obviously Dana was not a dude, so that made no sense. So it came down to me having to write Dana, and then me having to write Carib. And when writing Carib, I had to, because Carib is this is the most information people are going to get about WALTZ's plotline, other than the one trailer and a few scenes I give him, right? Carib is the story of WALTZ is what turned Carib into the Red Saint, right? What was he like before he became the Red Saint, and so on and so forth. My biggest goal was trying to, because a lot of WALTZ is Carib WALTZ, not the Red Saint, if that makes sense. I'm having to write a less sadistic character, but with a lot of dark undertones, but then make him also sound like Poseidon. I don't want him to sound like me, because if you can hear from this podcast, me and Poseidon speak slightly more pretty differently, right? The way we emphasize some words, we say it differently. The way we say some words, the words we use are different, right? So I had to watch Writing Red so many times to kind of get the feel of how Poseidon would do a scene, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I should say this. If Poseidon wants me to remove this, I will remove it. But Poseidon sometimes likes to swear. We all do, right?
Sometimes I do it all the time. Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, I'm lucky I haven't seen this podcast yet, so you know.
So that's why the very first word that Carib says is shit.
The first line in general.
That must have been the funniest thing filming Writing Red. Is he turned around to me, can you please just tone down the swearing? I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. I think it's for the interview scene, because I was like, yeah, the interview scenes we got. I don't know, because I was like, on that time, I didn't know the kind of like age rating I was allowed to go for, right? So I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. So we filmed the early scenes with you, and you sweared a lot, and I was like, okay, cool. So I had it in there, and I went back to the executive producer Nigel, and I was like, is his swear words allowed, or do I have to reshoot this? And he's like, no, it's fine. I was like, okay, cool. Oh, for you. Okay, so Poseidon, going without talking about the major obvious spoilers of WALTZ, right? What is your favorite part of the script?
Part, without saying too much detail, will have to be. To be honest with you, I haven't really got a favourite part. I like the whole script in general.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I do like the whole script in general, especially when, without saying too much detail, I get my attire on.
Ooh.
And it explains.
Ooh.
You know,
Yeah.
that's it there.
Yeah. That is yeah. I know what you need. I know what you need to
Yeah, I don't really want to say any more because even just a little bit of detail will give it away.
Yeah.
But it just shows.
It shows I know which I can spot. It shows the evolution.
Yes, exactly what I was just thinking of. I didn't really want to interrupt, but yes.
My favourite point is one of the big spoilers. I'll just say just enough that you guys will know what I mean. The scene with an argument in a hospital.
Okay. Is it an argument with two people or multiple?
Two people are having the argument, but there are three people in the room.
Okay, I know which scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
After this podcast, Poseidon, I'm going to show you all the scenes I've got so far because I want you to see these because I think you've only seen the ones I've released, and a lot of these ones which I haven't released are fucking amazing. But I know exactly which scene Chris is talking about, and that scene is so fucking emotional, and one of them does such a good job in just really just getting into the feeling of that moment.
I know exactly what scene you're talking about, and I cannot wait to see this.
I can show you the scene. It's so good. It's so good. I remember coming back from that day like this film is gonna be so good. My other favorite scenes have to be the what's it called? The which one? What do I call it? I call it something. I think I call it Dana interview. The very first scene with you and Marina, where you then clink the glass at the end. Do you remember that scene? That one. That's.
I remember it very well. Yeah. I remember that very, very, very.
Yeah.
That's good scene. Really good scene.
That's
very. It's very. How can I put it? It's like the unibonds to two different objects, if you know what I mean. It glues part of the storyline together. I think it's a really, really good.
And then the last scene that I like, which is a spoiler, but I'm gonna say the last scene. You think you guys get which one I'm talking about when I say the last scene?
I know. Yeah.
That's the one I'm saying. The last scene.
Yeah.
Because in that scene, it's like
can't wait to film that one.
And then if you know what those specific words mean and what it calls back to, it's I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Love it so much. I remember writing, and I was like, "This is the fucking most badass shit he said." Like I don't even like, and he doesn't, and like the character doesn't even know it's so badass because it hasn't happened yet. I'm spoiling way too much, but he knows. It's not that like, and then it gives a whole new reason to that line in another point, right? And it's like, oh, bro, I love it. Oh god, I honestly think that the WALTZ cast was casted perfectly, just all around. I can't think of anyone being Marcus. I can't think of anyone being younger Carib. I can't think of anyone being Carib. I can't think of anyone being Dana. I can't think of anyone being Eve. I can't think of anyone being anyone else.
The same with Red as well.
Yeah, it was. It's just the casting is so good, and I think that's the thing that I want to run home is anyone listening to this who isn't who isn't the biggest isn't knowledgeable about these actors. Please look into these guys. Look on like the cast pages, their IMDb's, whatever, right? And just really like get to know these folk And if you're a student filmmaker or a big budget film company or whatever, and you're looking for some people, these guys are just so good when they know the character that they're being, and it's nothing I can, and all I can say is that I hope that everyone who's part of this cast, who's part of the next cast, who's part of the former cast, everyone just find success, because all of you lot deserve it, because you're fantastic people and great actors, and just good at your job. You come to it enthusiastically, you understand your characters, you give off a good vibe on the set, you but then you also all like you all know when to switch between like being casual, right, and then being actors and being performers. Like I like going back through a lot of these things when editing. There's parts where I, like, you guys are in the middle of a conversation, and I just go 3, 2, 1. I'm like, whoa, give them time. You just give them time, and then you guys go, okay, cool, and you get into your your character instantly. And I'm like, looking back, I'm like, yeah, 1, I should give them time, but 2, these guys were ready and are able to just turn it. And it's just a testament to all of you guys and what you can do. So again, I thank you for being a part of my.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm gonna thank you obviously for getting the production together, getting the team together, and everything. And I also want to thank you on behalf of some of the fans that keep asking me when's WALTZ out, when's WALTZ out, when's it out, when's it coming out? I want to watch it, literally itching and scratching like a crack addict, you know. So I just want to thank you for that. Obviously, without you, this couldn't have happened. So a lot of people are enjoying it and going from. Thank you very much for your kind words as well. I'm forever grateful. But you've got to realise as well, don't just thank us, thank yourselves as well, because without you, this wouldn't be in motion, all right? So I thank you for that.
I appreciate that, mate. Appreciate that. And I also want to thank Chris, because Chris is like, Chris does so much work that most people will not know. Just from script editing to being sound to giving off ideas, just any idea that even I wouldn't think of, and just make me wanna to change it, because I sometimes I ask so much of Chris and he just is fine with it, and I'm like, dude, I can't thank him enough. There's so many times I'm like, Chris, I want you to come with me so we can review the script, even though I didn't tell him the day before. I didn't plan it until like that moment. I'm just like, Chris, let's just do this. And Chris is like, okay, cool, I'll do it. And then he's just willing to do so. And it's like, he doesn't ask for anything else really much after that. And I just appreciate that. I appreciate everyone's willingness to be a part of this. Because without everyone here, it wouldn't be as good. I wouldn't be as confident in it, and I wouldn't have as much fun making it. So I want to thank I want to specifically both of you two. I want to thank everyone for being a part of this.
No worries. And well done on the hospital being right on red crisps.
Chris dying in the hospital bit. Yeah, that was perfect. Right on red, Chris. Remember that.
Chris, you have to stay silent. Stay silent. Okay. And rolling and action.
And Chris just starts laughing.
I was like, what? And we all just start laughing.
But yeah, we're gonna end off this podcast here. Remember, this podcast is on Apple Podcasts, it is on Spotify, and it's also on Google Podcasts. You just have to search in the G3 podcast and it will come up. Not G3 podcast, because that's a podcast about gardening and childcare. The G3 podcast. We're going to try to release more stuff on the YouTube channel, but for now, we're just, for this season, we're just splitting the episodes around on our three channel. This one's going on my channel, and next week we will be having, I think his name is Tom, also known as Tharies, which is a friend of Chris, because next week's episode is going on Chris's channel, so it's going to be tailored more towards Chris's kind of audience. Well, that is Chris's episode, right? And his friend's going to come on that week, I'm just going to say, again, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We're all on there. Free to listen to. Just support us by listening. That's the first thing you can do. And then thank you for coming, Poseidon.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it. So we end this just by saying bye, Poseidon. So I'm going to ask you to say bye.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming and listening to the fantastic podcast which we're all on. I look forward to doing more in the future. We hope to see you again. Thank you very much and see you all soon. Well, you'll hear us all soon. So Thank you.
Bye.